All right, party people in the place to be, vandals, and everybody else out there lurking in the darkness. This is a brand new episode. How'd we get here? This is kind of a late one. We were supposed to do this a week and a half ago. That's on me though. I had testicle difficulties, and yeah, we
That's
kind of we kind of got the runaround a little bit, but we're talking about the Hellboy Crooked Man trailer tonight. We're going to be going over the trailer breakdown. I'm going to be Joe hasn't seen it yet, so we're going to kind of do a trailer a review with him. But also, I've kind of picked out the I want to show like this trailer actually looks cool. You know what I mean? And then that's going to be like my hill to die on in this episode. So I picked out like all my favorite visuals that are represented in the trailer, and we're going to kind of show you all that too while we kind of go over it. And then after that, we're going to do a full review of the 3-issue series. Is kind of what we have planned for tonight. But before we get into all that, Joey, man, you got a check in. It's been a while since we did an episode where we can do check-ins.
Yeah, I forgot. I've been reading the Wrenchies, but it's in the bedroom, so I'm not gonna go grab it. But yeah, that's what I've been reading. I finished because I have the Hellboy slipcase omnibus set, so I read the first
2, right?
Yeah, first 2 are complete. I completed the first 2.
So where you at in that? Like, where does the second one leave off? Has he quit the BPRD or?
Yeah, he quit and he's on his own little like where he's the old man in the sea story or whatever, where he's out on a boat sailing around. Yeah, and he meets like a ship with these sailors, but they end up being dead. Yeah, so it's like he's dead and he's floating around in no man's land or something.
I hate to say it, man, but I kind of actually like the Hellboy solo series a little bit better after like he quit the BPRD. It gets a little more interesting. I kind of like the more sporadic nature of the cases that he goes on. You kind of get like a lot of jumping around in time, where like you'll have like weird episodes like Hellboy in Mexico, where like you'll have like him in the 70s, or like you'll have something like the Crooked Man, and this takes place like not too long after World War II. So like I kind of like that aspect of it, whereas like kind of earlier on it was. You had a couple short stories that popped up here and there that were out of place, but a lot of the time it was kind of.
Oh, hey, Cookie. Yeah, I think Volume 3 is going to have a lot of that stuff in it.
Yeah,
because half of this one is the story with Roger.
Yes,
Roger, great character. Love that character.
That's why I'm a little worried about getting you into BPRD, man.
Well, they make references. Yeah, they make references to it, so I'm gonna have to start reading it. Like I said, I've read quite a few different Hellboy stories, kind of sporadically here and there, but I've never actually read the series through, like from issue 1 all the way through. So it's been pretty good. It's fun. It's been great.
I think dig BPRD. It's a little more consistent than Hellboy is. Like because John Arcudi does like pretty much the mainstay writing. Like Mignola kind of tosses him ideas, and then John Arcudi writes it, and then Guy Davis does like pretty much all the art. So
speaking of John.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. You were talking about you just got that.
It was on sale, so I picked it up.
Nice.
Yeah. A little bit of Mask, some old school 80s, 90s goodness.
Yeah, man. Smoking.
Yeah, that's a fucking series I'd love them to reboot. Make it darker, funny, but more dark humor, not as slapsticky as the Jim Carrey one.
I would like them to do a show for it, like a really kind of dark show. I think that
guess who I'd cast as Finkel, what's his name?
Ipkiss, right?
Ipkiss, yeah.
Stanley Ipkiss.
Yeah. Take a guess.
Bill Skarsgård.
Exactly.
He's got the face for it, man.
He does have the face for it. He already looks like the fucking character already.
Yeah, you just gotta paint him green a little bit, dude. Oh, snap. Good one. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, I was thinking of it the other day. I was like, fuck, he'd be perfect. Now he's starting to do more action roles, so I think he could probably pull it off, all the action scenes and everything. So
yeah, I mean, like people that only know the movie, if they actually adapt the comic, they're going to be up for a rude awakening. That comic is pretty dark, man. Like
it's it's very slapsticky, but it's very violent as well.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of more in line with the Garth Ennis thing. It kind of reminds me of like The Pro by Ennis and Palmiotti than
it's like if you took what if cartoon violence was real violence, right? Where when he takes a big hammer and smashes someone, well, you see the person smash with their guts all over the concrete, you know? Yeah.
Well, and then Stanley Ipkiss was such a I mean, he's like a really gross character in the comic. He's not like lovable goofball like Jim Carrey played him. He's kind of a really shitty little guy. So that'll be fun to see too. Like,
yeah.
So you got anything else for your check-in?
What did I watched the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, that gets a hard skip for me, man. I didn't like it.
Yeah, you said you weren't a big fan. Was it you that said you weren't a big fan of the new?
No, I like them okay. I just kind of didn't like this one, man. Like,
I was talking to someone.
It kind of had too much going on to make
Yeah.
I kind of just wish it was about the two different tribes of apes fighting each other. I think the human involvement was a little unneeded, kind of, or I don't know. And then the ending, like where the whole thing floods, made no sense because, like, I understand that like the ground floor would have flooded, but like the entire complex flooding makes no fucking sense. Dude.
Yeah,
there's like,
it was okay. What else did I watch? I think that's it.
You didn't watch Cobra Kai?
No, I watched The Boys though.
We
went through The Boys, which was it's The Boys. It was okay.
I need to kind of catch up. I haven't tried to watch it since season 2.
A lot of people were bitching this season about it, but I mean, it isn't really any different than the other seasons all that much. So I think people are just being nitpicky.
It's woke.
Is
that what they're crying about?
Like, I don't know. I don't know. It definitely plays off the two sides pretty heavily handed, like the left and right. So maybe people got turned off by that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Cobra Kai. I thought.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping they wrap it up soon. I'm kind of losing a lot of patience with a lot of the main cast. Like the two main girl characters, I don't like either of them at this point. I really don't like Danielson's daughter and that girl Tori. Like, oh man, like I'm hoping they kill her off. And I'm kind of not digging the Blue Beetle or Johnny's kid either. Like a lot of the main cast is kind of like lost me at this point. Like I kind of don't like a lot of them.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think I'm 2 seasons behind on it. So, yeah, I still have.
And aside from that, I've read a lot, but like I'm only going to talk about like a couple things. I read 1949 by Dustin Weaver, which damn near perfect piece of pulp goodness, man. It's got some sci-fi, it's got noir, it's got gorgeous art. Like I highly recommend everybody going and picking it up. It's out as of last week from Image Comics. And yeah, if you like stuff like Hard Boiled by Frank Miller, like this is definitely a book that you should get because it's a one-man show version of that. And it hits on that same level. I actually might like this a little bit better, to tell you the truth. I really, really liked 1949. And then I read Ribbon Queen all the way through finally. And I kind of wish I liked it more than I did, man. Like I feel I kind of wish
that's
that creative Ennis and Jason Burrows. I kind of like it kind of came off a little toothless. I kind of wish that maybe he picked a different artist to go with because I thought that this was going to be a bit more vicious, especially with the way that they kind of angled some of it. But at the same time, it kind of felt like they were afraid to go all the way with this one. It's just disappointing to see like Burrows and Ennis, this team that was fucking fearless together at Avatar, that did Crossed and Chronicles of Wormwood and 303 together. Someone like Ennis's most fearless shit kind of put out this toothless fucking Blumhouse ass comic book. Like it kind of only half-assed said what it was trying to say, and like I'm like I don't know Ennis, and definitely not Ennis when he's working with Burroughs to be that way. You know what I mean? So I kind of think that AWA pulled their teeth on it a little bit, which I think is like dumb because why would you get that creative team if you're gonna like hamstring them? But that's just my personal takeaway from it.
Yeah, and they had what? It was an 8-issue or a 12-issue?
It was an 8-issue issue run, and it kind of still felt rushed, too. To tell you the truth, it didn't feel all the way baked. You know what I mean? Like I felt a little quite a bit disappointed with it. To tell you the truth, I kind of wish that they let. I mean, guys, why would you pick those two to work together? Like, Guinness has a lot of other artists that they could work with. Like, they could have got like the Jimmy's Bastards guys, or like some of the like the half-ass stuff that he did at Aftershock. A couple of those artists to work with him, but
yeah.
They picked this guy who's like, I don't know, just my personal hang up with that. But yeah, that's kind of my check-in.
Cool.
I watched. Go ahead.
No, I said cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, Hellboy, the Crooked Man. This will be the 4th Hellboy film.
Yeah.
And it's not getting a lot of love, sadly, man. I don't know what people expect. I'm not gonna sound like a snob here, but I honestly get the feeling that a lot of people I've seen, besides us, review this thing, don't really know Hellboy very well and don't actually know what they're talking about in regards to the character. They just know what they've seen in the Del Toro films, which is, I guess, okay, but like, try not to talk like you have general knowledge of the character, you know what I mean? Because to tell you the truth, I think that they picked the perfect story arc to do a movie like this with.
Yeah.
I mean, end all be all. That's my.
Yeah, it's a fun story. It's got very American Gothic type, like hillbilly horror.
Well, it's super stripped down. You got Hellboy and so fighting some witches and a couple of zombies at the end. You know what I mean? Like, and like you said, it's him in Appalachia, and kind of the only thing you got horrifically, like through most of the book that you have, is Richard Corben's like very kind of off-putting and disturbing character designs. You know what I mean? He just draws ugly people. You know what I mean? He's got Adrian disorder. But but like the book's got its decent horror to it. That I kind of wish that a lot of people would like kind of look at the actual arc that this is based off of before they actually try to like comment on what this is. You know what I mean? It's kind of my personal take, but you kind of want.
I think that's the problem with a lot of stuff, like the MCU, the DCU. A lot of people base their opinions just on the movies without very much knowledge of the source material. Like a lot of people were bitching about like the common thing about Captain America. That's not my Captain America. Like the whole time Winter Soldier, I was like, okay, but if you knew a little bit of what it's the US agent, right? And like, that's not Captain America. That's not my Captain. I was like, get over it. Now people are saying the same thing, that what's his name? The Falcon isn't Captain America. They just put him in a suit. And I was like, well, if you read the comics, like, wait till they fucking find out that Captain America was a secret Hydra agent all this time. That storyline. People are going to lose their fucking shit,
I really hope they don't go into the Nick Spencer Captain America stuff.
I hope they do, just to watch like the internet fucking all their heads just explode, like it'd be funny. Because just the comics community went kind of crazy over that. So I would love to see the fucking MCU stands.
I went crazy over that, man. I quit being a Nick Spencer fan because of that shit. I used to love that guy. But yeah,
all along, Captain America is the Hydra agent. Yeah.
So anyway. We got this new movie. It is coming out in September, I believe. And one thing that I kind of hear people saying about this, that might be why it looks bad, is it was a 2-month shoot, and like I don't think that tracks. I think that's a pretty good shoot. I mean, it's a little tight, but I mean, most medium budget films have about a 2-month shoot. It was filmed from March till May, and that's not like. That actually kind of makes it sound like there might be a little bit more money behind this than people are originally believing, in my opinion, if they had that long of a shoot, to tell you the truth.
September 27th is the UK release date. It's written here on IMDb.
And we got a kind of interesting cast. I kind of like that it's a bunch of people we don't know. We have Hellboy himself is going to be played by Jack Kesey, who has been in a few things. He was what was
the
his name?
goth rock guy in The Strain.
Boulevard in The Strain, which is one of the most
Yeah.
known things, and he was also Black
Tom in Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2. Yes.
Yeah, and he's done a bunch of other things, but those are the two things that I've seen him in. Yeah,
And we're gonna have this is the character that I believe is made up for the movie because she does not appear in the book. Her name is Bobby Jo Song, who is played by Adeline Rudolph. I believe from what it looks like in the trailer, she is going to be a BPRD agent, probably steeped in the occult, or maybe a clairvoyant of some sort that is going on this mission with Hellboy. That's my general
yeah, because in the story Hellboy's solo, but maybe to keep with the original movies and stuff, how he always has a partner with him. So maybe that's why they threw her in there.
Okay, we have playing Tom Fowler, who is kind of actually the hero of this story. We have Jefferson White, who I'm not sure who this actor
He
is,
was
but
in Yellowstone.
Okay.
He has a pretty prominent role in Yellowstone. So anyone who's watched Yellowstone will recognize him. I liked him in Yellowstone, so I think it's good casting. I think he'll do.
Yeah, he looks a little young, but that's okay. I'm not completely pissed about that. I always thought that Tom looked like Tom Petty in the comics, but like
yeah.
Tom's no longer with us, so he couldn't play the character. But
probably would be a little too old these days too.
A little too old, but like especially like the panels where he's smiling at Hellboy, talking with him, like hell, it looks like Tom Petty. I'm convinced that Corben was drawing Tom Petty. For the blind Reverend Watts, we have Joseph Marcel, who was Jeffrey, the butler in Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Which is going to be pretty fun casting because he's going to have a pretty serious role in this. I mean, like he's kind of the moral compass of the story ish. You know what I mean? Like he's what grounds everything when shit gets crazy at the end of the story. So it's going to be cool. I haven't seen this actor probably since the Fresh Prince. So
I mean, he's done stuff. I just didn't recognize him in the stuff he's been in since. Like he has to have been in stuff since the Fresh Prince. That was what 30 years ago. So, yeah,
this should be a fun role.
Sure. Yeah.
For the villain himself, the Crooked Man, we have Martin Brassendale playing Jeremiah Watkins, aka the Crooked Man, who sadly should have been played by Sid Haig, who is also no longer with us. But like, you wouldn't even need to put makeup on Sid Haig.
No, like, he looked, he already looks like the fucking Crooked Man. It's crazy.
There's no way you could tell me that Corben was not drawing Sid Haig in this book.
For people who don't know who Sid Haig is, he's one of
Captain
the guys.
Spaulding in House of a Thousand Corpses. I mean,
he's in all those. A lot of Rob Zombie movies.
He was in all of Rob Zombie's movies, and I think he was pretty much in a majority of most Grindhouse films as well. I mean, like his history in film is, I think he was in a couple hundred films in his career. So like Sid Haig has a storied career. Playing Effie, the evil witch, is another actress. I'm not too sure. Sure I know. Her name is Ali McNamara, playing Elfie Cobb. From the trailer, she looks like she's going to be doing a good job. They definitely have her playing up the sexual side of the character very well in the trailer. They kind of have her being very menacing and very kind of impish, you know what I mean? Which is very well representative of the character. Like I'm kind of really happy with what I'm seeing. And then kind of our reluctant witch, kind of one of our stand-in characters of the story, Cora Fisher, is being played by Hannah Margetson. And she is kind of the character we're trying to save in the story. And I think it's good casting all around. I think everybody kind of really looks like their characters. And we also have somebody that's going to be playing Professor Broom in the film, which going to be kind of interesting because this is, like I said, this takes place not long after World War II. So this is a very young Hellboy, and it's meant to be a young Hellboy. So we're also going to have a young Professor Broom in the film as well. Man, I'm not seeing the casting for that. Like I saw it earlier. God damn it.
Oh.
But
I didn't. I just looked at the main cast. I didn't really
So there is going to be some stuff aside from what was in the book that's going to be
Like
tacked onto the film, like kind of
flashbacks, probably.
Hellboy getting orders, and getting shipped out to Appalachia where it takes place. But with the cast and all that laid out, you want to kind of get into our trailer breakdown, Joseph?
Yeah. Do the trailer, man.
Okay. We're gonna play it all the way through once, so Joe can watch it, and then we're gonna kind of go through and I'm gonna show you the visuals, kind of breaking down like why I'm actually personally really hyped for this trailer.
Something in these hills. Something haunted. Evil. It smells like death.
How do you know that?
Dark things called dark things.
I heard tales about him all my life. Most just called him the Crooked Man.
We've got company.
All your friends, they all gonna die.
Okay, right off the bat, what I'm gonna say first is the feeling I get from this trailer is it's a lot of finished shots that they had already done, like kind of early off. Because a lot of it's from two particular scenes in the film, mostly from when they get to the mines and Cora Fisher freaks out, and also at the end, kind of struggle at the church. It's kind of what we see everything from is those two main scenes, which makes me think that they kind of got those kind of edited first and kind of threw this trailer together. I don't think that what we're actually seeing here, this first trailer, is super representative of the film. It's kind of my first take that I'm going to go with watching the trailer first time. What do you think, Joe?
I love the tone, like that. It's more. It's gonna be very much a horror movie in tone. Like it's definitely a departure from the Del Toro, which was more like a fantasy, like whimsical, more aspect to it. The third one was a lot of like computer generated effects. This one looks like they're going to go with a lot of practical effects.
I think everything's
awesome.
Practical. I know Hellboy, all the effects with Hellboy himself are supposed to be practical. All the stuff with the Crooked Man is practical, and it looks like a lot of stuff's going to be practical in the film. So I think that they're actually edging towards that type of film anyway, since that's kind of been popular since Terrifier kind of made.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go with more mood than spectacle for this. Like really set the mood, make it creepy, atmospheric, and they'll rely more on that than like you said, it's a limited budget, so they have to do that because they don't just have an unlimited budget for effects, right? So which I think will probably make this like
make or break the film, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and more often than not, I find it'll help a movie, because you can put as much effects into a movie as you want, but if the tone isn't there, the atmosphere isn't there, it just doesn't work. So yeah, so I think it's going to rely more on the movie, the tone, the atmosphere, which I think will just create an overall better movie.
Yeah. And the acting, it's going to have to hinge a lot, because there's like 8 characters in this story. You know what I mean? I mean, there's probably 12 in total, but there's 8 that'll actually talk and do stuff in it. You know what I mean? So, I like it's going to hinge a lot, like you said, on how the effects look and how well this thing's acted out. So, I think that from what we saw in the trailer, I'm pretty hopeful. I think that a lot of the visuals we've seen look good, and I think the acting looks on point. I think Kiersey kind of looks fun as Hellboy. I'd like to have seen a little bit more with him, maybe, but that's just a nitpick. And plus, this is, like I said, a first trailer, and I think this is actually classified as a teaser as well, because it's only about a minute long.
Yeah,
it's short as hell,
which is more than long enough, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
So now I'm gonna kind of do the trailer breakdown. Are you cool with that, Joe?
Yep.
I'm gonna go back through this baby. All right. I'm gonna be pausing this a lot, people. So like I hope I don't bug you, but whoops, I'm actually gonna drag it all the way back to the very beginning.
That is the very beginning, no?
Okay, right here. This is a point of contention I've seen a lot of people whine about. I don't know what ketchup entertainment is. I'm cool with that. Like, I am happy that this doesn't say like Blumhouse, to tell you the truth. Like, now that would bum me out. Like, then I'd know we were working with some crap here. But like this actually, I'm cool with not knowing what ketchup entertainment is.
Hey, it's all right. I mean, Hellboy's red, right? So it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that might be like a joke type thing because I know that Mignola like is kind of doing the McFarlane thing. I know that like he is very heavy in the production of this thing. Like this is kind of his baby because he has not been happy with the last couple versions of the film. You know what I mean? That's kind of why he talked Dark Horse into kind of letting him go and do this really cheap, really kind of eccentric thing. You know what I mean? And I'm really hoping it works out for him. So. And then here, I'm going to show you some flashes from the book, straight up, of Appalachia, drawn by Richard Corben. That, I mean, this just perfectly encapsulates, man, like the beginning of the book. Like, if you're familiar with this story right off the bat, this thing is like showing you that, like, we're doing this book right. You know what I mean? And as a fan, I can't ask for more than that.
Yeah. Something haunted.
All right, here we have the girl killed by the witch balls family, which, I mean, like perfectly represented right there. I mean, like,
hillbillies, man. It's mountain people, right? So
those might be the witches from the end at the church. Either way, like I see that these characters are very well represented in the book. You know what I mean? They look like something Richard Corben drew up. Sadly, you know what I mean? Which also has me very hopeful. For this film, you know, based off this trailer. All right.
Evil.
We got Effie riding up to Cora Fisher's house to menace her and Tom. I mean, they kind of, like I said, they play up her sexuality a little more in this scene, kind of showing her spread her leg and stuff, which kind of plays more into the story that Tom is going to tell Hellboy in this scene. So I think that it's fine, like them showing her like impish nature and the way she's kind of a seductress to these kind of to this world of witchcraft in Appalachia. You know what I mean? I think that that's kind of a neat thing that they're playing right away, showing you that like there is a femme fatale going on here.
It smells like.
There we got a really cool shot of Tom going to way back in the hurricane to make the deal. Perfectly represented. I mean, almost comic accurate at this point. This is it looks like it's made for the film. This scene, a dialogue doesn't actually happen, but
Death.
All right, and here we have Cora Fisher freaking out at the mines, pretty much, which gonna be a great scene, man. If they do it like how it is in the comic, oh man, that is going to be.
How do you know that?
Dark things called dark things.
All right. And here we go. Just another general adherence to you know, the atmosphere and the look of the book. Here is them wandering through the hills, looking exactly like, you know, how this film makes it look.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know what more people want.
Him all my life. Most just called him the Crooked Man.
Okay. Here we have Tom and Elfie doing witchcraft together almost perfectly. And then we have the scene of the Crooked Man going crooked, which comic book accurate, man. Straight up. All right, this looks like it's changed a bit. This is Cora, I believe, when she kind of explodes at the mine.
Yeah.
And you get the first kind of really big action scene, you know what I mean? Where
she has a demon familiar.
Right. which we're gonna get into when we do the whole review in a minute. But like, yeah, this is the scene that I believe that this is interpreting. I think that like a snake would probably be easier to do than a giant millipede, because like the snake is probably easier to do practical than like a big CGI worm millipede type thing.
Possibly, yeah.
That's my prediction. That's where I'm thinking this is all.
We've got company.
Here we have the enchantment of the shovel, which, oh man, like that is just really cool to see depicted. And then we kind of have a lot of, general disarray going on. We get a kind of a quick flash of the Crooked Man here. Like we should kind of see him. Oh wait, man, why do I keep doing?
Gonna die.
Here, we kind of see him flipping out at the gate.
They all gonna die.
And yeah, here we kind of see back at the freak out at the mines. We see Hellboy getting covered with bugs, which kind of shows him. He kind of has a flashback that ties to modern Hellboy stuff, or stuff that was going on contemporarily in Hellboy. But I'm not sure what they're going to make that flashback be. I don't think that they're going to do the same thing from the film, but I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a kind of a cool scene with him, maybe, having a tit-to-tat with the Crooked Man. Like, this is where I'm thinking they're going to go with that. And here we kind of and then that last shot with Hellboy.
Yeah.
And I hope that they kind of do, because in this book they kind of really, really have fun with the fact that Hellboy is terrible with his gun, and I hope that they play that trope up, because like in the comics he actually doesn't use his gun. He's terrible with it, so he kind of pulls it out, shoots once with it, then throws it away and just starts beating things with sticks and stuff. And I kind of hope that they really play that kind of part up in the movie for the first time, because they kind of make him a little over dependent on his gun in the other movies, and I don't know why they do that. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of the few things in the movies that it came before that kind of make me roll my eyes a little bit, like personally.
It's got that big hand, man. It's got to beat stuff with it.
But I mean, I hope that I made with my choices clear that like this trailer looks pretty faithful. Like if you're a fan of Hellboy and like this fun little arc in particular, like this should be a pretty good little adventure film, you know what I mean, with some good horror to it. Like it looks like they're doing this thing right. I really want to see what dude looks like as the Crooked Man. I know that's going to kind of kill it, but I hope in the next trailer we get a kind of a good look at him to see if he's going to look goofy or if he's going to look fucking terrifying like he's supposed to.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see that too, because Corben's design for that character is fantastic.
Yeah, I remember when he first showed up in the comic, I literally was pretty terrified of him, man. And like I'm not usually creeped out by horror designs in comics too often, and it's not even really that crazy of a design. I mean, he's kind of like a regular looking dude-ish, you know what I mean? Just kind of zombified, but like, man, I don't know, them teeth and stuff, like
teeth and gums, man.
Yeah. I think that's where like a lot of Mignola stuff shines anyway. It's like the way he draws his skeletons with the lips stuck to like mummified to the mouth still, but like having the skeleton teeth hanging out. I always makes
the dead eye too. The dead eye on the Crooked Man, you know. That's always kind of, when you see people with a dead eye, kind of creepy.
But like I honestly recommend people getting this arc and reading it. Like, even if you're not familiar with Hellboy in the slightest in the comics, you don't need to be. This arc takes place completely on its own. It's kind of actually more about like this character Tom. That Hellboy is helping out pretty much, which we're gonna get into now that we're gonna kind of review the arc itself, which we'll kind of get through quick. It's 3 issues, but it's 3 issues, or you can get it in a trade. And I highly recommend it if you're like kind of wanted to get into Hellboy for a while. Like, I really recommend checking out the Crooked Man. It's kind of like a nice jumping on point, because you don't need to really know any of the lore. You just kind of need to know who Hellboy is, and you need to know what Appalachia is. You know what I mean? And like that's it. And like this is the regular trade. This will be book number 10 if you're at the shop and you just kind of want to pick the trade up. But I also think that it's going to end omnibus number 3, right, Joe?
Yeah, omnibus number 3, I think it's in there.
Omnibus number 3. So like those are the formats if you want to pick it up in any type. That's where you can find it, and I highly recommend. And I think like even if you get it in the 3 issues, I think you can still get them for cover price or cheaper. I don't think that it's a very in demand series. Maybe now that there's a film, but since it's kind of a film that everybody's taking the piss on, tragically, I think that you might still be able to score them for cheap. But I really hope people will reevaluate the trailer, man. I think that this film's got more going for it than a lot of people think. Like, sure, it looks a little cheap, but dude, most of the best horror movies have always been cheap. Horror is a cheap
I don't know. I think it looks
genre.
It looks good. I don't think it looks cheap.
I like the way Hellboy looks. I think he looks better in this film than the David Arbor version looks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I honestly do. And like, yeah, they just painted him red and put horns on him. But like, that's kind of all you kind of need to do with Hellboy if you're not going to go and do the complete Ron Perlman with the goofy chin and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of in between the two, I find.
Yeah, and
like between the Ron Perlman and the Harp, it finds a happy medium between the two.
As much as I like Hellboy 2019, my biggest detraction has always been how Hellboy looked. I did not like his face in that movie. But like, I still love the film, you know what I mean? So, I kind of wish we see more of Hellboy in this trailer. But I think what we see of him has me interested. I think that the actor is showing promise, you know what I mean? And especially since he's going to be playing a younger Hellboy, and kind of Hellboy is, I hate to say, kind of like a helper, a tag along in this, and like he doesn't pretend to be anything else. Like, we're gonna go ahead and get into this. This one starts out, like I said, in Appalachia, and Hellboy is investigating this murder. This young girl, handicapped, found dead with this weird mark on her chest. Her family's kind of telling Hellboy about the parts and what goes on there, and they determined that it was a witch ball. And this is where Tom Fowler shows up, and like he's back to these parts. He's kind of a local hero, but like he left to fight in the war and stuff, and now he's back to kind of set things right, because you'll find out, like, it's a little too early to get into his backstory. We'll cover it when he covers it. But like, basically him and Hellboy, they decide to hit the road, and there we go at that Tom Petty smile, man.
To go find Cora, because they had
yeah, Cora Fisher, this girl that basically Tom was sweet on, but like he kind of he knows that she got into this shit, you know what I mean? But he's hoping that she didn't get too far while he was gone away at war. So like they're going to her house to try to see what's up, and like they get to her house, and like a lot of the signs not so good. They're kind of looking like she's into this stuff. And they get to her place and
find the balls.
They find the witch balls. They find her demon familiar, which is like a bug in a jar, like Joe said. And then Hellboy finds her skin. Just kind of chilling. And this is kind of where you get Tom's backstory. And this is kind of where he talks about how he met Effie down at the woods. You know what I mean? She kind of seduced him into it, and how he went full gummo with the dead cat. Cleaned its bones out one by one until he met the Crooked Man, and he's got his lucky cat bone, which is basically his magic wand. And basically, he is supposed to use this to do dark magics. And when he got his wand, he basically got scared of it and took off and basically never used it, which pissed the Crooked Man off. But this is the scene in the woods where you see the Crooked Man coming up to him and cricking and stuff. And then here's our first look at the character in the book. And man, what a haunting design, like me and Joe were saying. And I'm really hoping that they make him look good, and when we finally see what the character looks like. And we get his backstory. The Crooked Man's basically a carpetbagger, a rich guy who came to Appalachia and sold everybody out, pretty much. He pissed everyone off to the point where they hung him. And since then, he's just been still making his little back deals in the woods, but these ones are a lot more darker than the ones he made in life, pretty much. And this is where we kind of see like this really cool scene of this is kind of where we see Tom take off, because this Toad is supposed to be his familiar, and when he meets him, he like just goes and joins the army and like fights in World War II. You know what I mean? To try to make things right. It's kind of like his justification, kind of what he says happens. And then we get this really neat scene of like Cora's body getting brought back to life with this raccoon coming in and kind of like popping back into her mouth. I really, really love this scene, man. Like, it's just really creepy. I'm really hoping that they do this good, man. I can't wait to see like some of these effects done in live action. I'm hoping they pull these off.
It would definitely be pretty cool.
And this is kind of like where Tom's kind of like finding out how much Cora got into and what's been going on since he's left this part of Appalachia, which is referred to as the Hurricane because it's just so crazy back there with the spiritual energy and stuff. And this is where Effie, the imp, basically approaches the house and basically menaces Tom and Cora, basically trying to intimidate him. And the horse that she's riding on is it's a very creepy situation indeed. You end up finding out that it's actually Tom's dad that ended up paying the price for his dark magics when Tom took off, and basically he's been this horse that she's just been running ragged and starving to death since Tom went to join the army. So basically now him, Cora, and Hellboy are going way into the back of the Hurricane to this church to lay his father to rest, pretty much, and try to save Cora. Meanwhile, Cora kind of realizes that she can't be saved at this point. It's her thinking. So she's getting packed for the journey. Meanwhile, her familiar is tormenting her, which really, really well done. Like, I love that, like, they just don't tell you completely what's going on, but like if you look at the panel, you know that like it's talking shit to her. It's basically telling her that like there's no hope for you. You know what I mean? I kind of dig that they didn't have to hold your hand with these things with this book. You know what I mean? They kind of left that there for you to interpret yourself. So this is like they're on the journey and like they kind of get to this point like these old mines where you find out that kind of these witches kind of came and interbred with like the weird kind of already cursed natives that lived on the land and kind of made these kind of really weird caveman witch demon things that live in the mines, and basically they call out to Cora, which causes her to freak out and kind of causes the whole big explosion with the bugs and the worms. And throughout it, like Hellboy and Tom are trying to fight, but basically Tom has to use his magic bone to get them all out of there. So this is kind of their big escape, and this is where Hellboy kind of first sees the church, and he kind of talks to a character that kind of has more to do with stuff that's going on in later Hellboy books and actually has to do with, I think, what they're going to talk about in the film. So it's kind of not important, but this does happen in the film, which I think that is still going to happen in the film, but I think it's going to be like kind of more to do with the actual event in the film. But and this is what kind of where they run into Elfie again, and we get this really kind of another menacing scene. Like I really like that they kind of made the actress look really off-putting and scary. Like the whole "you and your friends say hell gonna die." Like she looks like she's playing the character to all of her strengths. You know what I mean? And pretty much they get to the old church at the back of the Hurricane, but like they're being followed. You know, they're being chased. It's not very far behind them, but they kind of get back there and they talk to the old blind priest who pretty much tells them that they were able to save Cora Fisher's soul. Like her ghost was able to come into the church with them, which means that she wasn't too far gone for Tom to save her eventually, just not in the flesh. You know what I mean? Which is about kind of the nicest consolation prize you can get in most Hellboy stories, because if you're a human character, you're kind of toast. You know what I mean? They don't fare very well too often in Hellboy and BPR.
No.
So and you get this really touchy scene where they're kind of getting ready to try to lay Tom's father to rest, but this is where like all the witches and all the just people that the Crooked Man's made deals with surround the church, and like they start calling out to the not completely innocent souls that are laid to rest in the graveyard. They start bringing back to life because they can't enter the graveyard the premises themselves. They start bringing these people back to life so they can fight for them, which is really cool. Which I think is going to kind of really help make the film longer, because I think like reading the book, I kind of clocked it at it. If they did a direct adaptation, it'd probably come out to be about a 45-minute long movie. But I think that they could kind of really not drag it out, but they can make this final fight with the Crooked Man's called underlings quite a bit longer, you know what I mean? And this is where we get the really neat scene. I'm not going to spoil like the ending, but basically Tom's magic bone comes in really handy with the priest, and they fight, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna kind of leave it for everybody else to watch the movie in September and find out how it goes. But
or go read the comic.
Go read the comic, because that's available in multiple formats. I mean, you can read it digitally, you can buy it in 3 different ways physically.
The single issues are free on Kindle if you have a subscription, so you can get it there. The issues individually. I think the Hellboy Mexico one shot is free on Kindle as well. So those are all with Richard Corben drawings. So if you're a fan of Richard Corben, you can go pick those up. Read them for free if you have a Kindle subscription.
And I kind of really like his Hellboy work, because like he doesn't full on draw like typical Richard Corben style. He draws kind of in Mike Mignola style, which I think is kind of neat with a lot of the people that actually draw on Hellboy, because like Duncan Fegredo and a couple of these guys have their own styles, but I love that they kind of lend to the visual style of the book already, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then kind of add their flavor to it, which I think kind of as a Corben fan is really neat, you know what I mean? Because I love his artwork, and I would have loved to seen him draw this straight up his style, but it is kind of cool to see him play within the rules of Hellboy while still being Richard Corben, you know? And if you don't know who Richard Corben is, man, that's going to be a fun comic book history lesson. Like, he's just a guy that's been around, done so many wonderful things. He's kind of a long time, kind of a king of indie horror since the late 60s, I believe.
He did some heavy metal. He did
if you
comics that I think I don't know if Dark Horse originally put them out, but I think Dark Horse has the right to all those now.
Like, if you're a fan of the heavy metal movie, the character Den, like that was him, you know, the bald guy that the nerd that gets blasted to the other universe with the voice by John Candy. Yeah, that's Richard Corben stuff, man. And he's also done quite a few graphic novels based on the Den character, which are all a lot of fun. His werewolf graphic novel is a lot of fun. Like, Richard Corben is a master. He's also worked on some pretty cool Big Two stuff. Like, he did a pretty fun run of with Ghost Rider with Danny Way, and he also did a great arc of John Constantine Hellblazer with Brian Azzarello called Doing Time. I highly recommend checking that out. That's Richard Corben at his most grotesque, him drawing on that book. Like, so I highly recommend checking that out.
Cool. Yeah, I think it looks good. I like the fact they're going with more like full on horror. Definitely reflects the story from the comic a lot. Like you said, it looks really accurate, comic accurate. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that all Hellboy stories should be done this way, and I think this is kind of a neat way to kind of try to show the character still has some teeth without having to drag it completely back to somebody else's style. I like that Mike Mignola wants to try to get his Hellboy known, because I love Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy. Hellboy 2: The Golden Army is my favorite comic book film. Probably still will be after Hellboy 4: The Crooked Man comes out. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to discount that this film looks good just because it doesn't look as good as my favorite comic book film.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a Hellboy movie come out on the 30th anniversary of the character in the comics. So yeah, it should be cool. Should be fun.
I also really want to play that new Hellboy game. I still got to buy that.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's already out.
Yeah, it's been out since I think last October. So it's a little old now. So I think it's probably cheap though, man. I think I could probably get it for like maybe $12 or something, maybe.
I'll have to go look into that, because it looked just like a Mignola comic came to life.
Yeah, straight up. The art design on that game is just beautiful. So Man, that's kind of the episode. I don't know. Oh yeah, we got that. That is the 30th anniversary figure, right?
No, this I bought a while back. It's just one that I bought because I liked it looked comic accurate. So I got that a while back.
His legs are a little big, but like I don't think that they could make like an actual comic book accurate with the little goat legs. It would actually
Well,
stand
he has
out.
the tail. So the tail kind of when it holds him up, it props back on the tail. So the tail's a little bigger than in the comics too. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's got the look. So
It's kind of weird though. Like one of the things that I'm also really happy about in the film is that like the only thing that he's wearing is his trench coat and his little black shorts. Like I do kind of dislike when they have Hellboy wearing a lot of clothes for some reason because like I think that he's funny in the comics because he's always got the little black shorts on and that's kind of it.
yeah, showing off his legs, his little skinny legs,
His little goat legs, yeah.
yeah.
And I think it's kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are like looking at this trailer like, is this how far Hellboy's fallen? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I to tell you the truth, I'm actually surprised that Hellboy got billion-dollar or multi-million-dollar films out of the gate. You know, those Del Toro films, like they weren't even making good MCU movies yet. You know what I mean? When the first Hellboy came out, so like a character like as small as him getting a film that good, like that was a miraculous. You know what I mean? So and I don't see that this film is him falling. I think that it's an early trailer, and I think that it doesn't look like a big summer blockbuster, but I don't think that it looks particularly like a cheap film. I think that it looks like it's going to be a pretty cool hillbilly horror film. You know what I mean? Which
Yeah,
that's
that's exactly what it looks like, which is what the Crooked Man is. So, I mean, it follows the folklore of the like superstitions and shit around there from what Chase was saying. So,
yeah, we had a buddy that lives in Appalachia that like was going to come on, but like he had family arrangements that needed taken care of. So but yeah, we were going to have a few Appalachian anecdotes, but tragically I live a little short of Appalachia. It's really flat where I live, so but I have been through there.
I'm right at the end of it. It comes right at the end. It finishes up. The mountain range finishes kind of around near where I live, so I'm close to it, but not in the heart of it though.
Yeah, I think that like this is supposed to take place like in Kentucky maybe or something. I'm not sure exactly where.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of our Crooked Man episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope maybe you might be looking a little more forward to the film. I mean, it's more Hellboy, man, and it looks cool. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it's all the same people that complain about The Crow, Hellboy. It's because they're so stuck on the old movies, they can't move on with their lives. Kind of like fucking Snyder fans. It's like, come on, move on with your lives. You're stuck in the past, you know?
Yeah, I think The Crow's an interesting parallel to make. That's another one. Like, we're still got that one trailer. I kind of want to see a little more of it before I don't.
I'm looking more forward to this fall because you have Hellboy and The Crow coming out than any of the fucking movies coming out during the blockbuster season.
I mean, like, my only big complaint with The Crow is I don't like the song in the trailer. I don't understand why they're playing a fucking Phil Collins song in a Crow trailer, but like that's my only my only complaint really with it. It looks interesting, and like I'm still holding to it. It looks like it's going to be the second best Crow movie ever made,
which is not hard to do.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the episode tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. It's going to be an early episode. It's going to be a pretty interesting episode. We're going to have the master, the man, the Irish madman himself, John McCrae on. He's going to be talking to us about some Dead Eyes, about some Hitman, about some Demon, about all that goodness, about some Troubled Souls. Yeah, we're going to get him to talk some shit about Garth Ennis. Try to, at least. That should be fun.
I'm sure they like take jabs at each other.
I don't see why not. Like, I know. Like those guys like to do it with the other writers. I don't see them tease their artists too much, but I know that the writers' friends do tease each other a bit. So
Yeah.
So
They don't
maybe we
have
can
to.
get a bit
They don't
of
have to. They don't have to worry about hiring each other to work on their books. So. Yeah.
But
So,
yeah, this episode was a little late, but I think it was still worth it. And like, I still wanted to talk about it. I still think that there's mostly negative press about it. So like, I kind of wanted to have something a little positive out there for it if people are looking for that. So I hope I delivered that. And until tomorrow, we're gonna be here 2 Eastern, 1:30 or 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central. I'm not sure what that'll be.
7:30 British time.
British time, and yeah, it'll be an early episode for us Americans. Pretty late for people in the UK though. So we'll hope you'll be here, man. It should be a really fun interview. Till tomorrow, we'll see you guys. Take it easy, y'all. Oh wait, we got a comment.
Oh,
okay, we got a thumbs up, a peace, and I love you, Bon Jovi hand signal, and we love you too. All right, take it easy, y'all.
later.